Picture this. It's a scorching summer in California, 2000. Blackouts cascade across the state, like dominoes in the dark. A chain reaction of failure, ripping through the grid as if an invisible hand yanked the plug on civilization. Factories shutter mid-shift. Traffic snarls at dead stoplights, like cars frozen in a zombie apocalypse. And hospitals race against failing generators, their beeps turning to desperate gasps. Homes swelter without air conditioning, fridges thawing in the gloom, like melting ice cream on a forgotten countertop. The Nasdaq, bloated from dot-com mania, hemorrhages, plunging 78% from its peak as energy woes expose the illusion of endless growth, like a house of cards toppling in a stiff breeze. Enron, the energy trading behemoth masquerading as a market wizard, crumbles in scandal, vaporizing $74 billion in value. Billions in investor wealth evaporate. The Dow slumps 45% in real terms, and California's GDP contracts amid the chaos, a financial heart attack from years of unchecked indulgence. But hold on, this isn't ancient history repeating. Or is it? Flash to 2026, where AI data centers devour power like digital black holes. Insatiable voids sucking in electricity faster than a vampire at an all-you-can-drink blood bank, jacking up utility bills and risking grid meltdowns that could leave cities blinking out like faulty Christmas lights. Enter President Trump with a game changer, pushing for an emergency auction where big tech bids to fund new power plants, potentially shielding your wallet from the AI frenzy. But will it spark innovation or ignite another crisis, like lighting a match in a room full of gas fumes? Subscribe to the Wall Street Channel, a financial channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next episode, where we unravel the undercurrents of global finance. The AI surge isn't just algorithms. It's amperes, a ravenous beast awakening from silicon slumber. In 2026, data centers powering artificial intelligence are on track to consume electricity, rivaling major economies, with the International Energy Agency projecting global demand to more than double, from 415 terawatt-hours in 2024 to around 945 terawatt-hours by 2030, approaching Japan's current annual usage, like a growing teenager raiding the fridge non-stop until the shelves are bare. That's no small fry. It's a seismic shift straining grids worldwide, but hitting the US hardest, where the power draw feels like a national hangover after a tech-fueled bender. Northern Virginia, dubbed the data center mecca with over 300 facilities clustered like silicon beehives in a buzzing colony, guzzles more power than some states, turning the area into an energy vampire's paradise. Dominion Energy, the local utility powerhouse, has watched its data center pipeline swell, contributing to material demand growth, reported as up 17% year-over-year in some analyses. This translates to tangible hits, utilities proposing rate hikes amid escalating costs, with some Virginia households facing increases on the order of $20 monthly, though shared across factors like infrastructure upgrades and broader demand pressures like hidden fees sneaking into your grocery bill. It's the everyday grind. Picture the Virginia teacher in Fairfax flipping on her kitchen light after grading papers, only to wince at a Dominion bill inflated by the invisible hum of servers training AI models miles away, as if her home wiring is subsidizing a distant digital feast. Trump's counterpunch, urging an emergency wholesale electricity auction through PJM Interconnection, the nation's largest grid operator, serving 65 million across 13 states and DC, like a sheriff calling a high-stakes poker game to rein in the outlaws. Tech titans like Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta would bid on 15-year contracts for new generation capacity, paying up front whether they tap the power or not, de-risking billions for utilities, and aiming to insulate Main Street from the bill shock, a financial firewall against the inferno. A U.S. Department of Energy fact sheet pegs potential support at $15 billion for fresh plants, like injecting steroids into a weary athlete. Big tech must pay their own way, Trump echoed on Truth Social, a sentiment reverberating through markets like a thunderclap. Microsoft has publicly leaned in, signaling support for data centers footing their fair share on grid upgrades to avoid consumer pass-throughs, stepping up like the first hero in a blockbuster team-up. Yet whispers of skepticism abound. Is this free market magic or government meddling? A double-edged sword that could cut both ways. Libertarians might eye it warily, recalling how auctions can morph into winner-picking exercises, much like past energy policies that bred inefficiencies, tangled webs of red tape, strangling progress. Rewind to echoes from yesteryear for context, where history's ghosts haunt the present like recurring nightmares. The 1970s oil embargo. OPEC's squeeze quadrupled crude prices, spiking gas 400%, and slamming US GDP into a negative 0.5% contraction in 1974, like a sudden chokehold on the economy's throat. Unemployment crested 9%, stocks cratered, the Dow shedding 45% in real terms, while investors fled to gold, which ballooned 2,300% from 1971's $35 an ounce to 1980's $850 peak. A glittering lifeboat in stormy seas. Or the 2000 to 2001 California energy debacle. Botched deregulation birthed manipulated markets, blackouts, and PG&E's April 2001 bankruptcy filing amid $40 billion in costs, a house fire started by faulty wiring. Enron's December 2001 implosion amplified the fallout, dragging the Nasdaq into its dot-com abyss, like a sinking ship pulling down nearby vessels. Today, AI's voracious appetite parallels these shocks, a modern-day Midas touch, turning data gold but cursing the grid with insatiable hunger. Goldman Sachs eyes data centers demanding 175% more power by 2030, akin to plugging in 47 million EVs, a fleet of electric ghosts haunting the wires. McKinsey warns unchecked growth could nibble 0.5% off annual GDP, a drag echoing stagflation eras, slow poison seeping through the veins. But here's the pivot. This isn't pure peril. It's Wall Street's AI gold rush remixed, a Wild West bonanza with kilowatts as the new nuggets. Tech equities have soared. Nvidia's market cap eclipsed $4.5 trillion by late 2025, surging over 40% year-over-year on AI chip dominance, rocketing like a SpaceX launch. Yet the power pinch bites back, a boomerang effect. TSMC, the Taiwanese foundry crafting over 90% of the world's most advanced chips, upped 2026 capex guidance to $52 to $56 billion, buoyed by a US-Taiwan trade pact, slashing tariffs while mandating $250 billion in American investments, a diplomatic bridge fortified with dollars. TSMC shares climbed 8% post-deal, but utilities like Dominion and NextEra Energy wavered 2 to 3%. Investors jittery over infrastructure strains, storm clouds on the horizon. Bank of America's Vivek Arya, a veteran semis analyst with 2 decades under his belt, captures it. AI's promise is undeniable, but power emerges as the new bottleneck, scarce, strategic, and prone to volatility, like oil in a desert war. Arya maintains a Nvidia buy with a lofty $1,000 target, yet flags 10 to 15% earnings risks for utilities if the auction falters, a tightrope walk over a chasm. Peel back the US layers, and it's a mosaic of impacts, a patchwork quilt fraying at the edges. Georgia's Atlanta suburbs, magnet for Amazon's server farms, have seen power demand leap 80% since 2020, per Georgia Power data, like a balloon inflating too fast. That's birthed 5,000 jobs in grid builds and ops, but also 12% industrial rate spikes, pinching outfits like Delta's maintenance ops, Thorns and aside. Housing ripples too. Elevated energy tabs tack $500 yearly onto mortgages in hot zones, Redfin notes, hidden weights on the scale. Texas, data center frontier, evokes 2021 Storm Uri nightmare, $195 billion in damages, Centerpoint shares tanking 20%, a blizzard of financial woe. Opportunity glimmers. Trump's fossil-friendly tilt lifts natural gas plays. Williams Company surged 15% post-push, its pipelines poised to fuel AI hubs like arteries pumping lifeblood. Energy Transfer follows suit, eyeing the boom, riders on the wave. Analyst crystal balls sketch high-wire stakes, fortune tellers peering into foggy orbs. Bain & Company envisions $1 trillion in AI infrastructure by 2030, power costs tripling for cloud kings, an avalanche of investment. It's a rush for the ages, quips Bain's Patrick Brick, but sans the tools, envision endless power lines and turbines, pickaxes in a digital mine. AllianceBernstein's Bob Brackett-led energy squad projects US nat gas output up 10 to 15% by 2028, injecting $200 billion into GDP, yet risking 2016-style 50% price plunges from glut, a feast turning famine. Bernstein's pipeline guru Jean-Ann Salisbury jests, AI's feasting on the grid, Trump's auction forces the feast to self-cater, a banquet where the guests pay the chef. Stock implications: Alphabet might see margins crimped 2 to 3% per UBS, but ExxonMobil rallies on demand, Phoenix from ashes. Analogy time: it's the Matrix reloaded, machines siphoning energy like digital leeches, but Trump's the Oracle reprogramming the system, a code rewrite. Fun fact: palate cleanser, a single AI text query sips about 1.24 watt-hours onto microwave, a flea bite in isolation. It's a banquet where the guests pay the chef. Stock implications: Alphabet might see margins crimped 2 to 3% per UBS, but ExxonMobil rallies on demand, Phoenix from ashes. Global threats weave back US ward, a tapestry with frayed edges. China's SMIC, the state-backed foundry juggernaut, navigates US tariffs, but could gain from indirect AI export lifts, a shadow player in the game. Taiwan's TSMC, via the trade accord, pledges $165 billion to US fabs, spawning 20,000 jobs in Arizona and Ohio, yet taxing local grids, seeds sprouting thorns. Hedge funds like Coatue swarm energy ETFs, up 25% year-to-date, wagering on Trump's hydrocarbon lean, sharks circling chum. Libertarian qualms: auctions smack of intervention. Why not unleash markets for swift nuclear builds, free birds from cages? New-scale small modular reactors could energize a data center for $1 billion. Half a gas plant's tab, but red tape strangles them, bureaucratic nooses. Aftermaths mirror bygone tussles, echoes in a canyon. 2018 trade wars, steel tariffs, bloated costs, Caterpillar shares dipping 15%, tariffs like lead weights. Now, power crunches could dent Tesla's robotaxi dreams, eyed for $1 trillion valuation ad by 2030. Roadblocks on the highway. Jobs bonanza. Energy Information Administration forecasts 100,000 utility gigs by 2028, clustering in Texas and Pennsylvania. Electoral gold, votes like nuggets. Challenges persist. Data center cooling gulps Las Vegas-level water yearly, fanning Southwest droughts, a thirst unquenched. Supply chains: China dominates 80% of rare earths for turbines, poised for 50% price spikes amid frictions, choke points in the flow. Bank of America's Michael Hartnett dubs it AI's power pivot. S&P volatility up 20%, energy outpacing tech by 15%, a seesaw tipping. Brutal but backed, he says. Data centers are oil rigs 2.0, platforms in stormy seas. Everyday investors brace. Unbridled hikes could erode 401ks 5 to 10%, nest eggs cracking. Michigan's auto heartland, Ford's EV lines already brownout prone, harking 1970s stagnation. GDP flat, stock sideways a decade, a treadmill to nowhere. Optimism sparks. Post.com, productivity leaked 2.5% yearly, swelling GDP $8 trillion, a Phoenix rebirth. AI could mirror McKinsey posits, lifting growth to 3% annually, minting 12 million jobs, seeds blooming. Pop culture nod. Like Iron Man's arc reactor, Trump's forcing tech self-sufficiency. Will it illuminate or detonate? A gadget gone rogue. In essence, Trump's auction push is a shrewd bid to tame AI's promise sans grid electrocution, a lasso on a wild stallion. It buffers households from Wall Street's appetite, elevates energy stocks, and cements US AI supremacy globally, a flag planted. Yet shadows hover. What if bids flop, systems overload, or expenses balloon, dominoes falling anew? The open loop tempts. Might this energy gambit black out the bull run, or electrify it to new peaks? The currents are charging. Watch them surge. And you? What do you think of this plan? Write a comment and let us know. Your opinion is very important.